In this video, I challenged myself to hit top 100 in a WRC 2 car around the super tight gravel mountain roads of Greece. Greece being arguably one of the hardest alongside Mexico for the toughest rally locations in WRC. Now if you haven't seen the other two videos I have done in this format, basically I take on a stage 50 times to try and hit the highest rank I can. Tarmac is my weakest surface type, with gravel being where I feel most comfortable. Getting into the top 100 is the goal, and if I fail to hit that after 50 runs, then I will take on El Chocolate in Mexico in a H1 front wheel drive 50 times, all for your viewing pleasure. Now run 1 ended up in me sliding right off a cliff, but that was to be very much expected being my first run, and run 2 went exactly the same way, but this time just a little bit further up the road. I can already tell that these two corners are going to be my nemesis through this whole video. Run 3 came along and I took this one a little bit slower, more of a recon lap, just to see what I might be facing further along the stage. Now I must say, even with only doing 3 runs so far, I can already tell that I was either going to love doing this run 50 times or I was going to give up trying to find those last little time improvements. Anyway, in this run, I think I overachieved, and I managed to hit a 4:40.2, which put me 143rd in the world, which did take me by complete surprise. So now the challenge has changed, as I left so much time already out there that hitting the top 100 would happen quite soon. So I am going to have to get into the top 50 instead. Run 4, I crashed here, and then in run 5, I crashed there. And then in run 6, I also did crash, but I was starting to identify, especially in that first sector, where I could gain time. Now, one of the corners I needed to improve on was this first one. It was a 2 right, but as I was not carrying much speed coming up to it, I could lift off, turn in and get back on the power early. And then there was this tricky hairpin. I was pushing up into second gear, tapping the brake, going down to first and then pulling the handbrake. But then a few things could happen. Because of braking, I wouldn't have that much speed or momentum to swing the car around, causing me to have to add more power and either bog down or run wide. If I pulled the handbrake too late, the rear would hit a rock on the outside, so with that taken into mind, I ploughed on into run 7. This run took into account what I had thought on my previous runs, and I did manage to do what I wanted to do. I also managed to take all of the hairpins nicely, carrying enough speed through all of them. Definitely, there was loads of time to gain, but nevertheless, I did manage to take 1.2 seconds out of my time in the last sector, coming in with a 4:39.1, putting me 121st in the world. I had gained 22 places, which is not a bad start for less than 10 runs in, and I was now only 21 places away from the top 100. Run 8 wasn't going the best, being down by 8 tenths in the first sector. Pulled it back in the second sector to only be 4,000th down. By the third, I was up by 2 tenths, and then I crashed, but it did give me a better idea of where I was going to lose time. Run 9 ended where most of my runs ended, and run 10 got off to a great start, hitting all of the markers and managing to get around the 2 awkward right-hand turns, coming out to the first sector 4 tenths up. Maintaining that all the way up to this tricky section of corners, very easy to get it wrong, and get it wrong I did. When I hit that rock, I was a full 1 second up. Moving on to run 11, I nailed the first few corners, but then lost a lot of time in one of those hairpins. But that didn't matter too much, as at the end of sector 1, I was 5 tenths up. I didn't get the best of starts to the beginning of sector 2, but I did pull all the time back, and going into the third sector, I was 8 tenths up. So all that mattered now was to keep the pace up, but keep it as clean as possible. Now it was on this run I realised there was this massive corner cut here, so I was trying to get the most out of the hairpin, cut as much of this corner as the game would allow, pushing me up to 1.6 seconds in time gained. And I carried that all the way through sector 3, even managed to gain some more time. Just shy of 2 seconds faster by the start of sector 4, and now the all important last corner needed to be spot on, otherwise it would have been a wasted run. But in the usual Mikey style, I lost the rear end going into this square right, costing me about 4 tenths, but I did still finish the run with a 4:37.5, putting me 93rd in the world. So, being happy with that run, I took a little break and came back to it, but I took the break at the wrong time, as the next 5 runs ended with crashes, as I was trying to find that little bit of form I had. But this is how it all went down. Run 12, I crashed in my favourite place. and run 13, I just carried far too much speed into this corner and understeered wide into the rock faces and got pulled into one that stuck out just that little bit too much. Now I was 4 temps up as well, so I was slightly annoyed, but I'll move on. Run 14, I crashed again in my most favourite part of this stage. At this point it was becoming a running theme. Run 15, I got loose coming around this tricky double left-hander. The call here is a hairpin left, but I'd say it's more of a double square left. I was 7 temps up this time, but having lost so much time in sector 1, I still knew there was lots of time to gain. Run 16, I just got it completely wrong coming out of the second hairpin and smashed the rocks on the outside. Run 17 now, and as I passed through the first sector without much hiccups, gaining 2 temps, and providing I get the hairpins right through sector 2, then lots of time can be gained. On this run it was another 4 temps, so I was now sitting at a 6/10th gain. Sector 3 I did lose time, losing about 3 temps, but I was still up, and in the last sector I managed to get that as best as I could, moving up to 1 second in time gained, finishing the run with a 4 minute 36.5, putting me 78th in the world. Still lots of time to gain, but every run I was learning little by little. Most hairpins worked better using second gear to pull out of the corner as to not bog down in the dirt, and using better lines through some of the more technical corners. And speaking of things more technical, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please do. It really does help this channel grow, and a big thank you to Xander Scott for being the first person to become a member on this channel. Moving on to run 18, and this is where things get spicy. At this point, I thought I was the best rally driver on the planet as I set another faster time. In this run, I did push harder, but I didn't mean to push this hard. Now going through all of sector 1, I came out 7,000th down, so I wasn't really thinking I would improve that much on this run. Much of the same in sector 2, but now being nearly 4 temps down. Just continuing, as this is good practice, more track time and more car time, sector 3 saw an improvement. I had clawed back some of that lost time and was now sitting at a pretty 4 temps up. But that's where sometimes you just become one with the car, and I started hitting apex after apex, gaining time on top of time, and by the end of the last sector I was 1.7 seconds up, and I finished with a 4 minute 34.8, which was a massive time gain. And I genuinely thought after the last time I set that I would only gain minuscule amounts of time per run, but 1.7 seconds just shows that even when you think you have hit your limit, there is always so much more to come. That run did put me 58th in the world, so if I could only find another second, I knew that if I had a strong first sector I could gain at least a second from there alone. But sadly, after this point I spent the next 2 hours scratching my head. Run after run after run, I was nailing that first sector, sometimes even being 1.2 seconds up. I would eventually crash or do something silly. I knew the time was there, but I just could not put it together. And I won't bore you with all the runs, but know this. When I say for the next 19 runs, I did nothing but crash and reset. Now every time I do these sort of challenge videos, I keep notes of the runs. When I set a time, when I crash. Normally, when I do not finish a run, I just label it as C for crash. But I got that fed up with myself that I renamed it to fucked up, because that is truly what happened. I kept messing up, and on some of those runs I would mess it up at the very end, sometimes being 2 or 3 seconds up. Now out of the darkness there is always a light shining. Run 38 came along and I finally managed to keep it together. I will let the run play out, but ultimately getting sector 1 right, I was up 1.5 seconds. Now this did get diminished the longer I ran the stage. With sector 2 I lost more than half of that time gain, being down now at 8 temps up. I kept at that same pace through sector 3, keeping that 8 temps gain, but did manage to gain more time in the last sector.
Into slight left, 50. Slight left, 70. Short, 6 right, 6 left. Don't cut, 80. Links 3 right. Very long tightens. Into slight left. And 5 left, brake, 30. 2 right, tightens. Into 4 left, very long. And right over crest, caution, into 2 right, half long tightens, and late hairpin left, and 6 right, and 3 left, opens. right. And slight left, 40, lead 1 right, 30. Open hairpin left. 30, 3 left short, into 3 right, very long. Tightens 1. 40, hairpin left. 50, hairpin right. 50, square left, 40. Caution, slight left, and 3 right, opens and tightens. 1 right, and square left, into 2 right, opens and tightens. 1 right. And 2 left short, and 4 left, 30. Acute hairpin left, and 2 right, opens, and turn acute hairpin right. And square left, 40. Hairpin left. 50, turn acute hairpin right. And 1 left, opens and tightens. Hairpin left. 30, turn hairpin right, tightens. 100. Lead 2 left short, don't cut. 40, 3 right, tightens 1. And 6 left, 50. Slight right, long, slowing, 60. 2 left, 30. 5 right, half long tightens. Into 2 left short, 30. 1 right short, into 4 left. And 5 right, tightens. Into 5 left, 30. 2 left, opens, keep in. 30, 2 right short. And slight left, slight right. Into 6 left, slowing, and slight right over crest, 40, caution, 6 left, into sudden 1 right, 80, lead 2 left, 30, 2 right, keep in, 40, slight right, 60, slowing, left over bump, 60, hairpin left, and 2 right, opens long, tightens, 40, left over crest, into sudden 5 right, short, 50, 1 left, half long, and 6 right, slowing, and turn hairpin left, don't cut, 50, 2 right, 50, 6 right, and 5 left, opens, slowing, 50, square right, and 1 left, 40, keep right, over finish, 30, 1 left, to stop. Okay, that's a 4 minute, 33.5.
Finishing the run with a 4 minute 33.5, putting me bang on 50th in the world. Now, I definitely had so much more time in me, but after that grueling 19 runs with no time set, I could not mentally do this stage anymore. So I gave up on chasing and settled for 50th in the world. Now, I was happy I had achieved it, and maybe I will revisit this one day once all of you guys have given it a go. So Greece really did test me, but I found a new respect for the locations, even coming to think it may now be one of my favourite places I have visited in these videos. With all that being said, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop this video a like so others can see it, and do drop a comment down below. Tell me where I should visit next, and until the next time, I will see you very, very soon.